them people. I see corruption people. Mash down the people them out. Every day appear arms out. Appear money them a thief. And them a sell out the beach. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy candle, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch a blind and a resort to crime. You can't for me again. Come and say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The urgent the promise it done and them not deliver. Cut up the youth and rough and it down in the whatever. Them a bull money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them smell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell go mash up people start and thief when them sell. What they treat the market man. What them a treat the cat man. What they treat the peanut man. What them a treat the dirt man. What them a treat the son man. What them a treat policeman. How them a treat soldier man.
Stibby-dim day, stibby-dim day, stibby-dim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no keep. And some informer friend we love Lake. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for we in Global TV. Check it.
Good morning and welcome to the Global Television Broadcasting Group. I hope you had a brilliant weekend and you are ready for the week ahead. It is Monday, the 2nd of September, literally the start of the school year this week. But no doubt, our school year in Jamaica for 2024 has rather started in shambles, whether it be schools unprepared or not ready because of consequences of burial, or the debacle of brain drain in our teaching or education has become a sweltering mess. Good morning and welcome to my community of parity and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls. Good morning and welcome, whichever of the corporation brand you are watching on our 3 YouTube channel, the GTV group, the GTV studio, and producer Wayne Global TV, on Twitch, on Facebook. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Debbie Jarvis TV. Good morning. Good morning, Jamaican Foodie EM. Andrea Joan Hamilton Wilson, tapping in from China. Good morning and welcome, Deb. Sharon Bernard, Jason Kane, Zomaria over on Twitch, Abinasa Cody, Colleen Dharma, Annie Jones, Jason Kane, Ralston Henry, Lily Foster, Marcia Thomas, Miranda Roddick. Good morning, everybody. Beat and teach, how you do? Good morning and welcome, Jamashley. Good morning, good morning. We have some announcement for you. Ruby, good morning. No matter what you hear the world says, Global TV is growing and improving. Over the weekend, another of our YouTube channel has become monetized. That's the Global TV Studios. Because of that, we will be doing a bit of structural adjustment to our broadcasting. The Drive Time London program will return soon because, because it was summer, I kind of set back Drive Time London because I want to enjoy my summer evenings. Wouldn't swap a thing for the sun. So we're going to do some structural adjustments. So Drive Time London will return soon. But when Drive Time London Lunchtime Global returns, it will be housed only on the Global TV studio. So if you're not yet subscribed to the Global TV studio, please do. The link is in the top of the chat. You can subscribe to make sure you're able to follow Drive Time London. The link is in the top of the chat on Producer Wayne Global. If you have not yet subscribed to Global TV Studios and you want to keep up and follow up with our midday program for those of you on the Eastern timeline and our Drive Time program on our London timeline, then please do subscribe to Global TV Studios. The link is in the top of the chat, because when we return with Drive Time London will only be hosted on Global TV Studios. So make sure you are aware of that if you want to keep up with the Drive Time London program. So you can also support us on the Global TV Studios by super chatting us over there, super thanking us. You can buy membership on the Global TV Studios, as well as you can watch the programs on Global TV Studios as well to support our broadcasting group. We hope to continue to grow in the space, and as we grow in the space, we will roll out a few more things. So thank you all very much for your support. That keeps the brand going and growing. Queen Ifrica and L.A. Lewis. Queen Ifrica and L.A. Lewis have a vested interest of continuously going after Chief Curry. The more they go after Chief Curry, the more they identify themselves as agent of Andrew Holness. But I do believe, though, as I said to Queen Ifrica in the past, I do believe you need therapy. Because you're all over the place. You want to define who Jamaicans are. And you want to force your teaching on people with aggression. Not putting your teaching out there and allow people to think for themselves. You approach the boisterous, violent, bully mentality. But I do believe, Queen Ifrica, a lot of way I go on pan, is attention seeking, depression, and your the celebrity power wanna have in on one thing to say. People must bow down to you, acknowledge and recognize you at all costs. You're all over the maroon community. 1 minute it's this, 1 minute it's that. But notice, anytime anything I go on for Chief Curry, Queen and Freak and L.A. Lewis are two way go surface. They're always going to surface. And I go ask L.A. Lewis this morning, and not just L.A. Lewis. There's a lot of people in the diaspora. If a lot of you all don't realize that L.A. Lewis is scamming with this whole sovereignty document. Cousin Martin, how you do? But a lot of you in the diaspora who L.A. Lewis keep conning should ask L.A. Lewis some questions as towards the document that Imawa can issue out and make gains from a lot of you in the diaspora, because it is the mindset of people that really bothers me sometimes, and how they would just latch on to things but not have an in-depth thought of what they're latching on to. L.A. Lewis says many things. L.A. Lewis come out and say, him met Bojo, gone back a foreign. Must be one of the first person will come out here, come explain to you the route where Bojo go through to get back in visa. But L.A. Lewis come out and claim Bojo for this and Bojo for that. And stay with me where it's going. Because a lot of people believe LA when LA talk a lot of the rubbish, But ask L.A. Lewis, as the emperor he claimed to be, why the document with him have an issue can't make him move around the world, can't make him go meet other maroon communities and other indigenous communities in the US, in Canada, and Africa. Why that document, L.A. Lewis, I make money off a whole heap in the diaspora? Why that document cannot allow L.A. Lewis to do what L.A. Lewis allow Bojo Banton to do with that document? Does that really make sense to you people? Me now go say L.A. done, L.A. talk some whole heap of sensible things where you can go research. Me now go say the youth dumb. The youth is very manipulated though. Manipulative. The youth is a top class marketing agent. He's crafted that. The youth understands how narratives and slangs, how powerful narrative and slangs is over the mind. And the youth use it against the people. But sometimes it's getting too far, because sometimes when people are listening to L.A. Lewis, sometimes it's really hard for people to understand when he goes off onto that tangent or the mad puss piss drinking scenarios. It's hard for some people. I get a lot of call from a lot of people asking for validation for some things L.A. Lewis said. And some of these people who call me will remember I said to them, remember This is the grandson of Elizabeth. This is the grandson of Elizabeth. But because he has good information and he's knowledgeable about certain things and he intertwines it with his crafts and narratives of self-aggrandizement, it's hard for some people to recognize the hell what is going on. And it is because of that reason why this guy managed to swindle so much money out of so much people in the diaspora with his document that it cannot allow him to travel. He cannot name and authorize ambassadors. But a lot of people believe in the madness because they do throw their money away to this guy. Ask L.A. Lewis the hope of money, the millions and the riches what L.A. Lewis have. This is a question to you, L.A. Lewis. Why on earth you have so much money at throwaway and you don't see the necessary or don't see it necessary to privately educate your children? Your children then visit the old broke down Coburn Gardens Junior and Primary School, L.A. Lewis. You, as a leader you claim to be on all sorts, tell the public, have you ever buy a tin of paint and donate to that school? But every day you walk and throw money up in a breeze. And your children, them are battling in a derelict education system. Does that make sense, L.A. Lewis? Only don't understand this youth carefully, no matter where you're going in this world or upon social media. L.A. Lewis carefully craft himself into it, and a lot of people get tricked by it. If people never believe him, they wouldn't take up their money, throw at him, thinking that them can get a legitimate document from him. Him have a group of people aligned with him in this whole scamming game. But you see, this L.A. Lewis, though, has always been a loose cannon since he was a child. Ask Bujo Banton. Ask twins of twins. Among a few of LA classmates or schoolmate and age mate around that time, because LA, Bujo Banton, twins of twins, and many others attended the same school. But ask Bujo Banton, ask twins of twins, what are their memory of L.A. Lewis at school? And you may hear from them that what we remember of L.A. Lewis, he was the graffiti expert across Western Kingston, never attended school. Is there any truth to the argument, L.A., that back in those days, in the 70s and 80s, when you attend school, the whole class stand up to applaud you? Because when you entered school, L.A. Lewis, you were seen as a visitor. You were never a part of them. I mean, you've learned along the way. But L.A. Lewis has always been like this ever since he was a child. Because you all don't know L.A. Lewis, you think what L.A. Lewis is doing on social media is anything new. Speak to the people who go to school with L.A. Lewis, like twins of twins and Bujo Banton and many others. L.A. Lewis is a street learner. That's why he can cut and go through. He's a street learner. Nothing is wrong with that. And that's why the most brilliant place to learn. But when you use that as a manipulative tool, it is dangerous to docile minds. L.A. Lewis said he used to give Andrew Holness lunch money for gas school. And you know a lot of people believe him? Yes, they do. Andrew Holness is 52 and L.A. Lewis is 50. Make it make sense. But people are believing those things. And it is the pain of the docile mind of how people approach information on social media or in the social spheres. And it's the same in our politics. But anybody can just rack up and tell us something and we believe them, we don't question it. And them can use that same thing to swindle money out of us. They can use that same thing to swindle money out of us. That's why I say sometimes I'm sorry for the minds of the people. Because some people don't seem to realize when they are being manipulated. And they have a vested interest in continuously going after Chief Curry. L.A. Lewis never in a higger and digger to become emperor when people like thieving Ferran, because when people like thieving Ferran Williams was there, who was playing Andrew Holness's game. Queen Ifrika and L.A. Lewis, them was all right. The minute Chief Curry came and cut out the corruption, the exploitation of the cockpit country, L.A. Lewis and Queen Ifrika is down in Chief Curry neck like a hawk on social media every day. L.A. Lewis want to run a homosexual narrative against Chief Curry. L.A. is one who always wrap up and lap up with homosexuals. I don't know what his problem is. Ask L.A. Lewis which woman him live with. Ask him. Ask him. But every day, L.A. come out here and run narrative. L.A. admit to no say him love Andrew Holness. A whole heap of agent Andrew Holness have out here. Whether Andrew Holness placed them out here to work against Chief Curry, or Andrew Holness placed them out here to work against people in the diaspora who want to stand against corruption and injustice of the Andrew Holness-led regime. Andrew Holness, Rajawagwan, Andrew Holness has a lot of agents in our midst. And Andrew Holness agents, they know how to manipulate your mind. They also know how to manipulate your pockets. But the truth must be said. Global TV is always going to aim to speak the truth, no matter who it is about and on what side. But when you're claiming leadership, like people like Ifrika, L.A. Lewis, and Rattigan, when you not claim leadership, you not claim there's something there, no? Then everybody, especially if that leadership is about our affairs, and we no nominate you as leader. And Ben, thank you. We no nominate you as leader. Our self-proclaimed Global TV Studios has had its first super chat, thanks to Ebenezer Cody. When people come along the way and pronounce themselves on us as leaders, one want to say a bad mind and bitterness when we're asking questions of people who come and tell we, say them are leaders to deal with affairs. Wilfred Rattigan. Access, come here, my talk of the protest about we're suing, we're access to information. It's free. Put up on the government website. You don't need no money for the access to information. Now let me deal with the parlor issue where I'm gonna pursue. It's another dead end, just like the Kamina Johnson, Smith, and Nesta Morgan. Let me explain why. There's a particular process. Office holders like the DPP are under a tenure. In the constitutional monarchy structure, or in the parliamentary monarchy structure, the king or the governor general is a ceremonial position. It's not a political position. They cannot intervene in the governance as a matter of policy. Even though the governor general is acting on behalf of the king, or the king is the ceremonial head of state. It is ceremonial. The duties, the governance is controlled by the Jamaican Parliament or by the Westminster Parliament. There is a thing, though, called royal prerogative under the Constitution. Royal prerogative or powers of the crown, which Parliament didn't take away from them. The constitutionality to the royal prerogative, it is exercised by the government on behalf of the crown. So when you hear about a bill getting royal assent, it doesn't mean it goes to the palace to be okayed. The constitutional structure of the royal prerogative exercised by the government authorize that bill. It's a system. That seal is a system. It is exercised by the government, not by the crown. So Rattigan writing a letter to pursue Paula to the king. The king cannot get involved, Mr. Rattigan. It's a matter of policy. The king, the governor general, is there on behalf of the king to do certain ceremonial things, such as the ceremonial appointment, the ceremonial oaths, the ceremonial state opening of parliament, and all those little brouhaha and so on. But the political powers attached to the crown is administered by the government, whether it be in Britain or in Jamaica. Writing a letter to Prince Charles, it's a waste of ink and paper. Prince Charles cannot get involved. It's a matter to do with local issues where office holder under their tenure, they have to serve their tenure unless there are serious breaches or they become compos mentos. And even if there are serious breaches, you have to go through similarly what is like an impeachment proceeding to remove them. This, Rattigan, has nothing to do with the palace. It is purely a Jamaica administrative issue. Why Rattigan keep going off the flies and avoiding the crocodiles? If he wants to use your money to fight corruption, why going off the flies and not off the crocodiles, Mr. Rattigan, is a question. Because you don't understand that in the legal world, same thing in the FBI world, because it's the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they're investigators. It's a world heavily lied and sitting down, around computer doing paperwork. That's all Mr. Rattigan enjoy. That's all Rattigan think on a money can spend pan. Lawsuit. And they're not meaningful lawsuits either. They're lawsuits that skirt around the edge. They're lawsuits that go after meaningless things and people. A way to spend people money wisely or properly, I would thought or I would advise, is to do something meaningful on the ground at home. Invest in our education. Why don't the organization look at ways which they can intervene? Because let me state this, and I've always said, I will not and never be a part of any organization. I've always said this. I will support organizations with good intention. And never, especially in this position, be a part of any organization. I want to stand as an independent voice where anybody questions ought to be asked of. There are no biases in asking that question. So Global TV isn't and will not be a part of any organization. I will support, but not be a part of any organization. Because the appeal that he filed, Abena, will also be a waste of money. Because the original application was a judicial review. The reason why he doesn't have standing, not the diaspora, is because the decision of Kamina Johnson did not affect him. For you to apply for a judicial review, you must be affected by the decisions of a government body or a public body. Any lawyer that reads a textbook about judicial review knows For judicial review, you must have what is called local standing. In short, we just say standing. And that means the decision made by the government body or a public body must affect you adversely. If it doesn't, then you do not have standing. It doesn't matter who you are. So appealing it on that basis, it's just more waste of money. You don't have standing. The decision don't affect you. In any case, it was the wrong decision. It was the wrong application. If you want to sue for something, a judicial review wasn't the right application. You ask the judge to review the decision of a public or government body that affects you. Any lawyer, and no, not any lawyer, any second-year law student, sorry, any second-year law student, or even your first year, because you have to do a course that called the legal systems and judicial reasoning. So even a first-year law student would understand that you cannot make an application for judicial review if you have not been affected by the decision. So based on that, the appeal also have no basis because you never have standing. You never have standing, so therefore the appeal court is not going to create standing for you because in your argument to the court, you cannot state to the court how you are affected or were affected by the decision of Kamina Johnson Smith. That case is a woeful waste of money. It's a woeful waste of money. So pursuing that case and some of these, what I call frivolous lawsuit. A frivolous lawsuit means it has no legal basis, or some judge might say a facetious lawsuit, just that you are being feisty and you want to rub up yourself with us. It's similar to that habeas corpus. That's why me no want to practice law because me want to remain dunce. Habeas corpus applies to a person who has been arrested, not charged, not given legal advice, and not given a day in court. Those are the people who habeas corpus applies to. Now, if you have a date in court, that alone nullifies a habeas corpus. In place of a habeas corpus, what could be applied for is a nulli prosecute or a bail application. That's what sensible legal practitioners normally do, or if you're not looking for limelight or PR. But these are the things that people cannot recognize. Even me, who have knowledge of the law, the Kamina Johnson case, I had no focus on it. Because everybody knows that I cannot watch more than half an hour of Rattigan show for the fact that by come on 8 o'clock I lay down and watch it, me fall asleep before 9 o'clock. And when me wake up next morning it done, me now go put myself through watching another 8-hour broadcast again. So half the time If my audience don't say watch this or somebody say watch that person with it, I don't really get the time to watch such a long content. So a lot get missed by not focusing on things. But as people who are lawyers or with legal knowledge, these mistakes, these mistakes shouldn't be so out there continuously uh, being made. So just let me remind everybody, if you're just joining, another of our channel on the broadcasting group has been monetized. That's the Global TV Studios. Drive Time London, for those of you who are aware of Drive Time London program, it will return soon. When Drive Time London returns, Drive Time London will only be hosted on Global TV Studio. If you're not yet subscribed to Global TV Studio, it is now your chance to do so. The link is in the top of the chat where you can do that. Because when we come back with Drive Time London, only on the Global TV Studio, it will be hosted. Does the clarification goes for England, Jamaica, and the U.S. law? No, the U.S. law in some things are slightly different. The whole common law aspect of things is pretty much similar, the same, but the legislative area. So the way certain procedures or certain laws would apply in Jamaica or Britain, it would be somewhat similar, different or similar in the US because of the whole republic structure and the federal structure of the US. So different states have different law, but you have a overcompassing federal law where the FBI comes in. But when I speak about law, I'm really speaking about mainly Jamaica and Britain, because the law that I study applied to England and Wales. It doesn't even apply to Scotland or Northern Ireland. But it's the same framework of legal system of England and Wales that Jamaica constitutional and legal system is designed on. It's the same legislative process post we used to, our legislation prior to 62 came from the Westminster system, and we still follow that system while we are in our independent scenario, because he filed the appeal in the US. Hold on, though. File the appeal. No. File the no. When you have the appeal, let's focus on Jamaica here. The case, Abena, is in Jamaica. So him, even if he's filing the appeal from the US law, I'm kind of confused here. He cannot use US law, or he's filing the as a resident of the US, he's filing as a resident of the US, you mean, or filing the appeal from the US? Filing it in the US or filing it from the US? Because if it's filing it in the US, it's a whole nother legal brouhaha. It's a whole nother brouhaha. No, that in he cannot use international law. He cannot use international law. So I need to understand how that would. But I'm going to rehash because my understanding, I can't remember the name, the Camina Johnson. Let me tell you, I think that case was started in Jamaica. How he would manage to, this is where it would become more confusing. When he started that case, the case was started by a attorney called Sophia Bryant in Jamaica. That's my understanding. Well, he said he filed it in the US, so they would have to come to court. No, I better tell me which show. If we go listen to that, that's something that I really would want to understand. If he insists of it too, or how he insists of. Listen, Abena, that would be, you mean the case that he was told he had no standing in. He filed the appeal in the US. Nothing can go so. What I would like you to do is try and direct me to the show which he said it, and I can go and listen to what he said and respond to it. Cannot no, it could not go so it couldn't work. There's a thing in law. Boy, if he insists of it true, I'm here to defend LA. Good morning, Miss Karan. How are you? Where I go defend LA about? Yeah, him got school together. Did you ever see when him turn up a class and everybody a clap Miss Karan? By the way, Shelley, have Dana Dixon contacted you yet? Because a long time. We tell Dana Dixon about wigs by Shelley Coran. You know, if you talk in a crowd, if she contact you, but if she contact you, make we know, because we did put out a pitch for you, say, go over Shelley. Wigs by Shelley Coran, Miss Dana Dixon. So Shelley there today. Call Shelley or call me and me will introduce you to Shelley. But wigs, Miss Dana Dixon by Shelley Coran. So I been help to direct me to that show, please, because I would have really she not contact you. We still have a call her out, Miss Dixon. Wigs, Miss Dixon by Shelley Coran. If Rattigan does that, there's a thing in law called jurisdiction. Jurisdiction in the United States is quite complicated, but let me talk about international jurisdiction. Domestic law, you have what is called domestic law and international law. International law has international jurisdiction, meaning it applies globally to all the countries who sign up to that international legal system or legal court of whatever, and all these organizations. You have what is called domestic legal system, meaning the laws of America only apply within the borders of America domestically. We're not talking about American foreign policy now. We're talking about domestic application of law. So to have a ruling, to make a first instance, as what we would call it, your first application would be called a first instant application to the Jamaican court. The Jamaican court gave a ruling on that. You cannot switch jurisdiction to make the appeal because it's purely a domestic issue. You're dealing with Jamaica. So you cannot ask the United States jurisdiction to look at whether Jamaica was right to decide that I have no standing in a judicial review with a decision made by a national parliament or a national ministry. I really want to listen to that because that would be a whole nother so-called brouhaha to explain. But within America, it's even more complicated. You have what is called state jurisdiction and you have federal jurisdiction. Now, in a state jurisdiction, if something happens and New York police is investigating and it is such, it tops over their line. This is where people like Loose Cannon Rattigan would comes in, the FBI would comes in and take over the investigation or work along with the state investigators because it has become a federal issue. The American people, it is against here rather than the people of New York, where it would be a state issue. So that would be a model application where the if it's made to the foreign court, they would just throw it out and say jurisdiction doesn't apply. So my understanding, he started that case with Sophia Bryant. Then the appeal was lumped with the next appeal and given to Isaac Buchanan's firm. That's my understanding. So if anybody can direct me to Rattigan saying that about filing appeal in the US or from the US, I would really want to listen to that and give an explanation to that because nothing couldn't go so. Nothing can go so. You see. But when people have the mind, because pastors do it all the time, politicians do it all the time, when people have the mind, when the camera is on them, they can tell you whatever they want to tell you. But I want to tell the police them something down at Chilani. You can't keep advising people based on tourist revenue. You have to avoid and advise people rather based on safety. This whole shark issue in Trelawney, where the government, the police have one side of story, the community have one side of story. But my problem is the police are waiting for an autopsy to establish a cause of death. I don't think, though, the police at the same time should be telling people that there's no shark in the water is safe. I think that's an advice that is based in tourist revenue than it's based in safety. And I think it is woefully dangerous. And on a foreign government and embassies should have words with Horace Chang and Edmund Bartlett about this. Because if there's danger in the water, the tourists them need to know. Well, local people them need to know. So I don't see why the police have a vested interest in diverting the story what the family them are talk about, what the community have understanding of. I think it's very dangerous. I think somebody should speak to that. Edmund Bartlett. Edmund Bartlett. Do you think this advice is safe? Or is it financially sensible? Is it that it is a safe advice, Edmund Bartlett? Or is it because it's economically sensible? Because one don't want the tourists then. I mean, tell on the people, oh, the Americans them play hypocrisy. This is what I tell them, say, me can't support no government and no political parties across this world. The whole of them aligned to the demonic cult that is about controlling and suppressing humanity. No politician, no good if people can't hold them to account. All of them are criminals. All of them are self-aggrandizer like L.A. Lewis. All of them are faggot like L.A. Lewis. All of them depressed like Queen Ifrica. So I have time to join up with them something there. You understand? This is the reason why we fall deeper and deeper into the sleep. Because people refuse to talk the truth. People run and lap up manipulation. People run and lap up lies. But tell them the truth and say the power of pushback will come with it. Mr. Careless woman, go fund me to buy the most expensive ticket to go the demonic show. Where them to sell kidney house and everything for go. But me sure say, if them careless woman there pick the path to go on good school, them careless woman there now go come out here, come create, go fund me to pay them picnic school fee. And them something that this is how L.A. Lewis survived in a Jamaica and can even rob people in the diaspora with this document. Where Buju Banton and everybody can travel with L.A. Lewis can't travel upon it. Everybody rich and do something with their money. L.A. Lewis can't even send him picnic them a private school. But you still believe L.A. Lewis. Ask Buju Banton and twins of twins. When them at L.A. go to school, how often L.A. turn up at school? L.A. was seen as a visitor. Ask any teacher within that time what is their memory of L.A. Lewis. But narratives and slangs are very powerful. And because we're so badly educated, this is why reggae come take over from dancehall and mash up the thing. Because reggae was about a lot of slangs. It never have no great key. Not reggae, sorry. Dancehall was about a lot of slangs. It never have much teaching in a hit. Because half the music, then you don't remember them anymore. But you remember reggae that had the teaching in it, though. The music that still turn everybody's spirit when them play. Look at the destruction of reggae. What dancehall take with you. Because of slangs and gimmicks. And that LA use over on. And that LA use and swindle on the money out of a pocket. With a document we can do things for Buju Banton. Chief Courier for him, whole team can't fly. L.A. Lewis can't move. But people still pay L.A. Lewis for the document. Make it make sense. Why, as the emperor he claims to be, him can't go meet with none of indigenous groups or indigenous people around this planet? A holy pound believes that Prince Charles speaking it. That's how docile it was. A holy pound believes that my king and emperor. That's how docile it is. A whole pound believe when I say the holy for fake money, say a real money. If LA have real money, send your picnic them a private school, my youth. Send your children them to private school or help to improve the local school where your children them are go L.A. Lewis. But L.A. Lewis is not a person that's interested in education. Can never used to go to school. Everybody at that time remember L.A. Lewis as the graffiti expert for Western Kingston. Twins of twins, Buju Banton, anyone in classmate can tell you. It's a celebrity when him turn up at school because we're glad to see him if him turn up 3 times for the year. L.A. Lewis has always been this loose cannon, and it's working for him because of the madness of our mindset, the lack of thinking amongst us as a people. We can't listen. We can't say we want change, and we don't want discuss the truth, or we don't want to think differently, or we don't want to think out of or even without the box, because I don't know what we're doing with the box if we say we're thinking. What about dropping it? What about ripping up the box? Forget about it. It's never there. That's how we ought to think. But when we think into these little nickets and crevices and pigeonholes, this is a greater part of our problem because none of them ever get solved because we carpeted them, we pigeonhole them, or we chew them up and leave them until our grandmother died and we start spewing our bitter, sad story like Wilfred Rattigan. Sometimes I can be honest, people don't like it, but if we train people to accept honesty, they will have no choice. You can train the brain. But when we train the brain to continue with the corruption and the manipulation and the lies and the spinning and the marketing and the doctoring, hey, we're only going deeper into what we're trying to come out of. And a farmer alone, and an agriculture alone, price gouging, agwan, inner. It looks like price gouging is going on in our back to school too. Fuel price. The long line fuel the shopping price and frustration and everything. So I know agriculture industry alone I hype up the price because of the situation we find ourselves in. Even we ourselves are try to do over each other. But then again, said the bigger part of that control by the 21 family, we don't give two hoots or croots about us. So it's about them and themselves. Book price gone up, uniform price, all sort of price in the whole back to school. Brenango, everything is a price hike. So even when the people them can't get through work, even the month long where a lot of people in the orange economy, them job crippled, them little business crippled because fish vendor don't have electricity. People where run them shop, them meat and them all sorts. So the amount that people have lost economic wise in this whole in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl and the long staggering of a month of JPS and its derelict, incompetent work across the country. People have lost a lot. And then the same rich people them who they are run around and help the people them what they them same one hike up prices. The Chinese them have a whopper. I mean here Andrew Holness we take we economy man Portia and PJ. Andrew, Portia, PJ, and Bruce for the little time where him did dead because of Uno lot from PJ come down take the country economy and hand it over to the Chinese then. I must say, in a Black River, when we there grow up, a one supermarket did owned by a Chinese, Miss May supermarket, for those who know Black River. Almost one supermarket now in a Black River when owned by the Chinese then. I'm live. I will call you back when we're done, yeah? Yes. So from PJ come down to where we are today, are them people they mash up poor people economy in a Jamaica, and the wholeness mash up with nightlife economy in a Jamaica, with him Zozo come right back down to him what you call the lockdown galang in wedding. It's those people who mash up, and if you notice, Andrew assault on a daily basis on taxi drivers and higglers. A daily onslaught. Me know them not follow rule much, the taxi drivers and the higgler them. But nobody is seeing the onslaught on our orange economy. This is where this devil comes in. Because this devil hellish woman said, qualified to assist the challenges facing the developing world. Let me rephrase it for you, dunce woman. Let me rephrase the committed crime for you. Clark, you should say, is qualified to work on the project that we have designed to keep the developing world in a stagnant position. That's all the IMF is about. What development owner is about? There's not. Show me what the IMF has done positively on this planet. Show me one country involved with the IMF that is not in derelict and dire straits. The IMF is the policy dictator for the colony, for the empires, whether it be the British Empire, the American Empire, the World Bank, the IMF is a policy dictator. That is how the empire still controls and policy direct your country. It's really not about money. It's really not about money. You can't get up a bar of money, so top bar of money, because you don't see no improvement out of the barrel. Not even food you can buy out of the barrel. The whole IMF and World Bank thing is a con. It's a con for the US and Europe to keep meddle in Africa and the Caribbean. It's nothing outside of that. Otherwise, under these systems, you would have seen improvement in the developing world. Look at the state of our education and healthcare, in particularly where you have super corrupt politicians like what we have in Jamaica in our uni party. When Jamaican Labour Party done dish the corruption that way, them hand it over to PNP, say, take phone a chunk out of them and PNP come, and them ditch corruption that way. And it's the same cycle for 80 years. Vivian, take your problem to the Lord in prayer. Take your problem to the Lord in prayer. This is why some of you harlots like Vivian must not have children. Because every time I open on a mouth and I sound like a loose bitch on heat. Steady on, Wayne. Leave the slime to slender down the tree. Get on with it. So when this dunce I come tell we say, Nigel Clark qualified to assist developing world. How has Nigel Clark left the Jamaican economy? And if Nigel Clark has left the Jamaican economy in this situation, just over 3 department, 1.7 trillion unaccounted for. A scandal that rips through everybody's pocket. A scandal that rips through everybody's pocket. And them still a walk and tell you, that Niger can do good for third world economies and developing world when he's leaving Jamaica economy in a disgraceful shambles, scandals, unaccounted for money, misappropriation. Yes, that Nigel Clark had them tip to be the best thing to assist developing countries. This is the People's National Party worries about Jamaica economy with Nigel going to IMF. Because if and when, or if they do, the People's National Party wins the election, the policies as Jamaica stands in its intertwinement with IMF and the swelter of corruption, the policies that are pushed in our country, it's not really the policy of rather be the People's National Party or the Jamaica Labour Party. It's policies of the IMF. Whoever the IMF takes side with them may get better policy to run. But what the PMPs are worried about at the moment, it's Nigel Clark pushing JLP policies at them when they become government. And that, if that happens, will tear PNP into turmoil because Mark Golding won't be able to implement his planned agendas. Mark Golding will have to prioritize the agenda of the IMF and the World Bank. And that's a dangerous thing for any government who is in office. It is even more dangerous for the people, though, when you're dealing with corrupt politicians like our politicians, that because they're so corrupt, because they've misappropriated state money so much, then the IMF applies to them what is called the managerial policy, which rather than the IMF cooperates with you, the IMF has a manager in your country that dictates two things in your country: your policies and your finances. Do you understand now why development has never been done in infrastructure, health, education, agriculture, and the issues that would grow us into a viable economics independent? Well, Liad Andrew talk about where they under this, guys. If one want to talk about economic independence, be honest about the oil, be honest about the gold, be honest about the copper, be honest about the backside, and ditch the IMF. That's where we end it this morning on global television. Don't forget that the brand is improving and the original channel is now monetized. We will be doing some structural adjustment of our broadcasting corporation. So when Drive Time London returns, which will be soon, could be this week, but Monday the latest. When Drive Time London returns, Drive Time London will only be hosted on Global TV Studios. So make sure, if you want to keep up with Drive Time London, you're also subscribed to the Global TV Studio. The link to that is pinned in the top of the chat of Producer Wayne Global. And thanks to Ebenezer Cody, who has given us our first super chat on the Global TV Studio. You can always support us by super chatting us, super thanks, buy a membership, and of course, watch the adverts during the show, which help our revenue to grow. Thank you all very much for your continuous support. Join us back later, where we continue to look at the issue concerns us all at home and abroad. Good morning and good afternoon from Global Television. Thank you.